Hey there, I'm Hunter. I own Raincoast Floors, a hardwood floor refinishing and installation company in Vancouver. Today we're going to show you how to do a real hand scrape floor with the true antique distressed look that is really popular these days. So we're going to show you a few techniques. We can do this on site for you. It's got definitely a more real feel to it when you get actual installers doing it. It's not done in China on an assembly line. So we're going to do this for you in white oak. So we can do it in whatever species you want. We think white oak is probably the best. We're going to show you a trick called a French bleed today. So we just take regular solid hardwood. The example that we're going to be using here, this is engineered. So have a look right here. This is an engineered hardwood floor. So there's lots of wear layer here. So this is what we'll be doing. We prefer to work with this medium when we're using wide planks, if we want to keep the joints tight, or if we're gluing it down onto concrete right here, because it's about 1/4 of an inch of white oak, and then you got 7 or 8 plies of plywood. It's a lot more stable. So what we're going to show you how to do here is we work with the customer. We try to get a feel for what they want for the distressed look. So what we'll do is we come in. The first thing we do is, before showing up to your house, we take all the solid boards and we do it. We'll be doing it right here in the shop in Vancouver. And we it's called pillowing the edges. So we do this to give it a slight bevel to it. So we'll do this on every single one of them. And it's what's going to help give us the French bleed. It's something you see quite a bit of. Looks really cool. So we'll do this all by hand. And it's very custom. It depends on how you want it done. This is how we'll do it. So we'll do that. We hand sand all the corners. Make it nice and smooth. Then we install your floor. We either nail it down with our nailers here, or we're going to glue it down, depending on what the medium is. So with this, we figure out what we want to make it look distressed. One of the most important things is a hand scraper. This is the old school way of doing it. We've got a bunch of different little things here that we'll use. And all these little things that we're going to do here. So this is maybe to simulate someone maybe 50 years ago that may have walked in high heel shoes on your floor, and you want it to look as natural as possible, like it's natural wear. Right? So we can even use something like this. In a few minutes you're going to see how this makes it look. So another cool thing about distressed floors is that if you distress it some more, it doesn't matter, you're just adding to the character of the floor, which makes it cool. So there's other things you could do. We could, tap into it. Sometimes we can wire brush out. Use a wire brush to kind of peel out the grain, which can be kind of cool. So this is the next trick. Oh, and here's another thing. It's called a cross scrape. So this is to make sure that these joints are nice and flat here. That we go like this. You might not be able to see what we're doing right now, but it becomes apparent in just a few minutes. So we scrape across the grain. It's on purpose. It's number one to flatten it out, but it's also an effect as well. So we're just going to do that right here. We're going to leave these ones normal. Okay. So the technique we're showing you today, it's called a French bleed. So, and I learned this from the National Wood Floor Association down in, I forget where it was, in Las Vegas. I was taught how to do this by some really awesome guys. So what you do is you take some regular vinegar, and then you put steel wool, and then you let it sit for an hour. You notice how it starts to rust out? So you take this solution here, and then you wipe it onto the white oak. And what this does is it's going to seep into all those cracks, all those little pieces of damage that we made. And in about 10 minutes, this is all going to turn black. Here's one little trick. On a floor, when you're going to get this, if it's pre-done in China or something like that, they're going to do it board to board. So if there's any of these variations on here, it's going to be on each board. So on a real floor, in a real situation, I mean, someone may have, for example, moved their chair, you know, all the way across, right? We just did that. My dad was helping me move into our place. We scratched our floor all the way across. So this is, you know, to a trained eye, you know, this is going to look a lot more legit. I mean, this happens all the time. So, I don't know, we'll do another one. So it's going across the multiple boards. You can't have this when you've got... So at this point here, so imagine your whole floor is like this. Alright, and then we come in, and this is where the hard part is, but this is what makes it incredible. So notice this. We hand scrape all this off. But notice how this is still here. All the little character things still here. So when you hand scrape it, there's really no rules. You want to make it flat, you want to make it cool, and you want to make it so there's no chance for slivers. So when you're doing this, in case you guys are doing this and someone's going to do it somewhere else, you gotta be like a ninja sharpening this thing. You gotta keep this thing razor sharp, or else you're going to be here for a month doing it. So this is all art. There's really no right or wrong way of doing it. So right here, we could leave those aggressive lines like that if you wanted. Some guys will leave that, just like that. You don't have to take all that stuff out. So we've got a bunch of different blades that we use. So some of them are going to have different effects to them. Some of the guys down south are going to have some different things going on. So it all gives it a bit different texture to it. We all usually use a bunch of different scrapers. So, and scraping's done. So at this point, we'd go over it with the homeowner, see what they're thinking. See how much do they want more of this. You know, we want to find that one out sooner than later with these sanding marks. You know, do they want more cross scrape going on? Do they want more of this? Do you want more? Do you want bigger gouges? Whatever it is that you want, you can get. So then after, we go through and we smooth everything out, board by board. So at this point, we're pretty much ready to go. We've got all the distressed look to it that we want for this particular one. This time we're going to use a mohawk stain. So these ones dry fast, they're lower in the toxicity, and the coloration is the best. We're not going to water pop this floor. We sometimes do that with floors to make it darker. We don't want it to be too dark because we want to make these distress marks really pop. Alright, so this is what's going to seal the grain. We'll do this, you know, possibly multiple times. So look right here. That's that one section there. So there's 100 different ways we can finish this. For this one thing, we're going to go for the extra VIP finish, which would be, you know, so we've got oil into the grain, and now we're going to fill the last bits of the grain with shellac. Now, shellac's made from the exoskeleton of, I believe, the lac bug in India, and then it's put into solution with methyl hydrate, which is alcohol. So there's no finish that's more environmentally non-toxic than this. So, and this is what they've been using for hundreds of years on old furniture. They used to use it on floors underneath the wax. A lot of old school guys are going to tell you that this is the best way to make the grain pop. And some of the guys I've learned from, they'll swear up and down that there's just no way to make a floor look better than using the shellac. So we're going to try something cool here. We're going to use paste wax. So all you old school guys down south, if you're watching this, you're going to love and appreciate this technique. As far as I'm concerned, if you want this old school distressed look, you know, unless you have the real deal floor, it's not going to work. So we're going to use clear paste wax. We like using Staples, but you know, there's a whole bunch of different ones. What we're going to do here is we're going to mix in asphalt. It may sound crazy, but it's going to give it that dark look. Remember, what we're doing here is we're trying to make this floor look like a 100-year-old floor. Alright? So this is one of the tricks that one of the old school guys talked me into. Our local finishing store, he recommended it as well. So I'm going to mix some of this. Just a little bit. Make our pad here. What you do is you take this wax, squish it together with the asphalt. You can also use stain as well. We're going to try the asphalt out. Right. Put it in your pad. Some guys will want to use a cheesecloth. Like this. And you squish it through. See that? You got your dollop of wax in there. Trick to waxing a floor is you don't, less is more. Alright, if you put too much on, the asphalt's going to get just a little bit of color. It's just going to get that really unique, natural look to it. So we'll do this over the whole floor. And when you wax a floor, you want to have it polished up, maintained. Probably, well, it depends. Sometimes it's once every couple of years. You know, for a restaurant application, you might want to do it every, maybe once a month. But there's just no other, there is no cooler way of doing a floor for letting it age out. You'll never have to have it re-sanded. So, but the flip side is you want to have it maintained. So if you've got like just a regular house, you know, probably be every couple of years. So there we've got a real thin layer on. I know the optics on that little camera we got isn't going to do the trick, but I can guarantee you this looks absolutely phenomenal. So with this, I'd probably put on 2 layers of wax, and then just remember that every time you come back and maintain it, you're going to put another thin layer of wax on it. So at this point here, we'll just let it dry, polish it out, and it's a done deal. So this here is going to be, you know, I don't know how you're going to get a cooler floor than this, unless you happen to have a wide plank 100-year-old floor in your house. I don't think you can get any nicer than this. So there's different ways we can do it. We can do it the way we showed you here, where we install it and then hand scrape it, or we can do all the hand scraping in the shop and then hand sand it there. So there's various different ways we can go about it, but we feel we can get a more natural pattern to it and make it feel a little bit more authentic when we lay it and then hand scrape it, as opposed to doing it in the shop, which is kind of like, you know, where you'll get some of the factory made ones. So that's it. I hope you've enjoyed. I hope you've learned something. If you're interested in this, please go to our website, raincoastfloors.com, or give me a phone call, 604-842-7233. I'd love to show you how we can make this happen in your house. So have a great day.